Welcome to Bearing It All with Rose and Crystal.
Where the conversations get real, emotions run raw, and nothing is filtered.
Buckle up because we're bearing it all, deep diving into everything from motherhood to mental health and everything in between. We want to get to know you, each other, and our bodies, and things are going to get spicy.
Real spicy. Are you ready for it?
Let's do it. Welcome back to Bearing It All with Rose and Crystal. Today we have Charlotte, a certified Reiki master, spiritual mentor, and mindfulness practitioner to join us. With 7 years of experience as a mentor and healer, Charlotte supports healing journeys with expertise in energy modalities, spiritual practices, somatics, trauma, and mindfulness. Charlotte's personal journey includes overcoming an eating disorder, severe anxiety, chronic pain, and healing from childhood and adult trauma. She blends spiritual guidance with practical techniques to help her clients transform their lives and relationships. Charlotte is based here in Perth, Western Australia, but offers online and in-person healing sessions, one-on-one mentoring, sister circles, and events. And she dedicates her time to helping people worldwide. And we're so excited to have her on the pod today with us to share her journey and have just a general conversation with us. I have met Charlotte through doing some Reiki and some healing circles myself, and it was absolutely incredible. So welcome to the pod, Charlotte.
Thank you, ladies.
Welcome to Bearing It All. Why has it gone silent?
I don't know. I thought you were going to say something else, so I let you.
Welcome, Charlotte, to Bearing It All.
Thanks, Crystal.
Yeah, I'm really excited to have you in the studio today.
Excited to be here.
Isn't this the most awkward part? Like when you just
The
at the beginning,
intro.
you're like, "Hi guys, I've never seen you before."
Well, it's better than you last week. Welcome to our show.
I didn't know why I even said that, but yeah, I'm really excited to be having you here today. I've actually had a lot of experiences with Charlotte. She is a Reiki practitioner, a master, and I've been to beautiful healing events. Yeah, I've done some healing with you recently for the first time. She was my first in-person healing experience. And I was telling you the other night that when you did my Reiki, I had like this weird time warp. I think you were doing it for 45 minutes and then it was really relaxing. I felt like I was just like drifting off to sleep and you took me out of it. And I was like, what was that, like 10, 15 minutes? I was like, okay, maybe this is shorter than I think. I've never had Reiki before. And she'd been doing everything for like the last 45 minutes and I went into this weird time warp.
It happens all the time. People go, did you not just start?
I was like, have I been ripped off? What is going on?
Oh, now I remember the conversation because we stayed at a hotel on the weekend and Rose was feeling a little bit deflated. So all of us thought that we would pretend we were Reiki masters and we're like over the top of her and we're like, get away. Get away. And then we're like, is this even how we do it?
I was like, I'm sure it feels better. Like it was making me laugh. So like we were removing energy or something. But yeah, then
funny.
I ended up explaining like that I have had a
Yes.
Reiki experience and it was amazing. So
Well, I'm a bit of a virgin for this.
yeah.
Like I don't really know much about Reiki, what you do, none of it. I don't. It's very new
You
to me.
took the words out of my mouth because I thought to start, can you please explain what you do and what Reiki is? Like not everyone actually knows. Everyone's like, so she's doing something on me, but she's not touching me. Okay.
I thought Reiki was they take you into a garden and you do raking together. And like do some free spirited stuff in the garden with a rake because you're raking. I don't know.
I love it.
This is exactly what we need.
I don't have a garden rake.
Okay, good. Just saying, that's how my brain works.
I love it. And a lot of people don't initially know what it is.
Yeah.
And they maybe have heard of it and it's like, what is that? I'm intrigued. And that's the first part is people generally are curious. They've no idea. So Reiki originates from Japan and it means universal life force energy. So basically you get attuned to this life force energy through your hands, through symbols, and that allows you to channel that energy to promote healing in somebody. healing in somebody's body. You work through their chakras, which are known as their energy centers, and it can support them with a number of things, like feeling lighter, less anxious. I'm fortunate enough that I'm also psychic. So when I tune into somebody and I'm connected to the energy, I also pick up on feelings, sensations in their body, things that they're experiencing. Sometimes I'll start to feel stuff in my own body. Like if someone's got something going on in their gut, my gut starts to go and I go, oh, what is going on? Oh, okay, that's the client's. Sometimes I feel emotional, the client does. And the guidance comes through to support people on their own journey. So sometimes I'll get messages from spirit, sometimes loved ones that have passed over come in as well. And then people generally go into a time warp. They feel heavy, light, get emotional. Any number of things can happen. And sometimes people just lie there and float away and take that pause maybe from life and just go, oh, I can let go here and I can receive. And then they walk out feeling lighter, more refreshed. They've got some guidance that maybe they've been searching for a really long time.
So when is your next appointment?
Saturday.
We'll be putting all of Charlotte's details in the show notes, guys. Be sure.
God, damn, I feel like I need that.
It was so good. I felt all of the above. I think for me, I don't take much time for myself. So it was an hour just for me. And then I went into the weird time warp. And then I'm pretty sure I cried. I could be wrong, but I feel like I did. And then I did like to be touched. I don't know why, but you did occasionally lay a hand on me. I like
it. It was good, Rose.
It was good for me. It was good for you. But it was very relaxing. And then we had some messages at the end and I was quite emotional. And then what I didn't realise as well is after, I was like, I want to chat about this. I want to tell everyone what happened. And I couldn't. Like there was so much energy. I didn't realise you needed time to recover at all. Like I think it took me
Pretty hard for you to not talk either.
And that's exactly right. Like it's my thing. Like how I release energy through talking and how I process things. And I actually like went in.
And people do, we're so busy. We do so much in a day. We're in our heads a lot, rushing around all the time. And you take pause and just fill yourself up. And sometimes people have to take that introspection to go, oh my gosh, like I just gave myself, like it's literally filling you up with light. That's the way I look at Reiki. And everyone needs that. Like we're so heavy. We do so much. We're carrying so much emotionally. And then you fill yourself up with light and you walk away like, oh, of course you're going to feel emotional because you've more than likely been pushing that down all throughout your life, keeping busy, looking after the kids, going here, doing that, rushing. And it's like, oh, it's like that release of energy that can happen that most people really need right now.
Yeah, we don't take time for ourselves and we don't want to think about our problems, so we fill it up with doing other stuff.
I wonder who that might be.
I don't know who you're talking about. But more about you, Charlotte.
I'm damn interested in how this all began.
Exactly. Can you start us, just give us a short, tell us about you.
So I guess my journey really began when I left home young. I left home when I was 16 and found myself living in a caravan. I quit school. I was working 3 jobs and I was isolated from my family, for my own choices at that time. And it was a really hard time in my life. I was chronically anxious, had no confidence in myself. And this kind of progressed. And then I found myself just going from really bad relationship to bad relationship to bad relationship. And I hit the point when I was 24, I was like, something's got to change. I want to travel the world. I'm going. Left the UK, packed my bags, went on a round the world tour by myself and found myself in Australia. And I was living in Sydney, in Bondi, but what I didn't realise was that I went with me. So everything that I was experiencing when I was 16 and younger, right the way up until that moment, I took with me. So my anxiety hit a peak, really bad.
Whereas you thought you were leaving it behind. Yeah. You're like, I'm going to pick up, I'm going to change my circumstance, I'm going to change my location. That means that I can get away from my problems. But you're saying the problem, I'm the problem. It's me.
They put themselves in your suitcase and came along for the ride.
They really did. My baggage came with me.
Yeah.
And I thought I could escape it and I couldn't. And I ended up on the bathroom floor on my complete rock bottom moment. And this was back in 2010. And I'd been struggling alone with bulimia for 13 years. It started when I was 12. I never told anybody. I kept it quiet. I kept it a secret from every single person in my life. And that rock bottom moment in Sydney, I remember I was on the floor just like, I can't go on like this. Like, this isn't my life. And this is where I heard a voice that said, ask for help. And I was like, it wasn't my voice. It wasn't the voice inside my head. It was like another voice and energy. I now know to be spirit, ask for help.
Okay.
And I realised in that moment that I'd never asked. I never let anyone support me. I'll do it. I'm hyper independent, have to be from a really young age. And I went on this massive healing journey from that moment. You know, I went into therapy. I started looking after myself. I started really unpacking my baggage, you know, all the trauma that I'd experienced as a child. You know, my mum's an alcoholic. I grew up with that. My dad wasn't around. There was a lot of things that I'd carried for a really long time that I never talked about, never shared with anybody. And it started this journey that's now been a 14-year journey of healing and self-discovery.
Do you think that the bulimia happened because of those things?
Oh,
and
sure.
also having bulimia for 13 years, that has like a massive toll on your body, right? Like,
No wonder you were tired.
yeah.
And you were just tired. It's exhausting.
Yeah, 100%.
Mentally and physically.
Yeah, and people think bulimia is often an eating disorder about food. And yes, that's a portion of it, but it's about control.
Yep.
I had no control over my circumstances as a child. I had no control over anything that happened. So I controlled the one thing that I could at that time, which I thought was the best way. Obviously wasn't. You know, my body did take a toll, and I still have some gut problems now that come up as a result of it.
I was going to say, like, do you have any long-term like health effects now from that?
I've worked a lot on a lot of different areas, health, nutrition-wise, healing, my body, self-love, self-care. They're fundamentals in my life because I punished my body. You know, I hated myself for a really long time, and it's taken a lot of work.
I can completely understand where you're coming from, because coming from the same sort of trauma in my childhood and my early teens, and my body was a weapon against myself. Yeah. So I treated my body like others had treated it. And that was my only form of control, was how to control my food, how to control my exercise. I had control over that. But really it becomes the other way around, where it has control over you. Yeah. It becomes like this weird addiction.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. And it controlled my life for so long, how I thought, you know, what I thought about myself, my exercise, and I yo-yo dieted for years. And then what I realised was I was just controlling with food as the addiction, you know, to my bulimia, because that was the strategy, and then finding a new set of strategies and then learning that I could actually control the way I thought, the way I was feeling, what my beliefs were about myself, life and the world. And that's what really changed everything for me.
That is a big takeaway right there, in my opinion. I think so many, especially women, really take it out on their bodies and their appearance when there's a lot more than that actually is going on behind the scenes. There's so much that we can be doing. I know it is for me. I know even now, because I still have healing to do, you know this, that when I'm feeling really shit about myself, my head still goes back to the fact, you're ugly. But it's not, but the rational part of me now knows, no, you're not. It's just because, why are you feeling ugly? It's because I'm having a bad day, because there's too much in my life. So then I still often do go resort. The first natural thing to me is to go to that body thing. So that's interesting.
Yeah, I really do. And I always invite people into those days when you're having a bad day, when you're stressed, and when you've not had great sleep or things are going on in your personal life. They are the one time where you do not believe that voice inside your head. If at any time, that's the time you don't believe it, because they're the times when you are going to buy into it more than anything. Oh yeah, well, I'm shit. Oh yeah, I am ugly. Well, hold on a second. I'm actually having just a bad moment even. I'm just even having a bad moment. Okay, thank you, voice inside my head. I don't need to believe what you're telling me right now. There's a deeper truth within you that you now know, and that you can sometimes, I can rationally see that that's not actually true, but it's that old pathway, right?
It's so easy.
Familiar, like it's familiar, and we do it, like we're guilty of buying into that. And my work really teaches and guides people too that may be something you're telling yourself, but is it true? Like really, absolutely. Can you tell me that is a true fact right now? They go,
is it a fact or is it just a belief? You know,
something you're telling yourself.
Exactly. But
I feel like you do it quite often.
I do because it's such a natural.
Yeah.
I was in that state of mind for so many years, and then being competitive sport, you're almost fueled to believe that, because it's like, this is just the fact of what sport is like. If you're playing competitively, you want to get to the Olympics or a certain state or wherever, you may need to lose weight to get there. Certain things, like if you're a runner or a sprinter, being lighter does help that. So then you're fueled with that, with your coaches. And then you start believing the shit that you've told yourself as well. Plus your coach is saying, okay, we've got to lean up now. It becomes like so natural. And if you think about some women even that I've spoken to, they're like 50 years old, have messaged me and gone, I've hated my body my whole life and I'm only starting to, learn to love it again now, learn to try different ways, but it's so hard. Imagine 50 years of hating your body. That's all you know. That's the only way that you're going to keep resorting to that. It takes a lot of work.
It really does.
Yeah.
It really does. And I see clients that come to me 50, 60, 70 years old.
Oh.
Seriously, that are still doing it, but they've never known a different way. And yeah, it's often projected against the body, but really it's projected against self.
Yeah.
It's those feelings and thoughts you have about yourself, which aren't all true. And it's allowing people to remember what the truth of who they really are is.
Yeah.
I feel like I've never really had like the body thing, but I take it out of myself as in like with any business that I've ever owned, it's always been like, oh, well, you're not really good enough to do this, or you're going to fail, or you're going to make your family go bankrupt. Like those are the things that play in my head all the time. Like, yeah, it's strange, isn't it, that we all have different things that our brain tells us, like when we're having those crappy days.
Yeah. And then it just feels so natural to think like that. It does take a lot of work, but I do want to circle back to how it started then. So you were saying you started being bulimic at about 12, but you had a traumatic childhood there. Like your mum was an alcoholic. How long was she an alcoholic for? Like, and how much responsibility was put on you as a child then?
I can't ever remember there being a time where my mum wasn't drinking.
Okay.
And from being young, I took on a belief around what I made that mean about me. So going home from school, sometimes she'd be in the pub, she wouldn't be home. Whether she was home, she might have a drink in her hand. And it wasn't like you'd see, oh, she drinks first thing in the morning or at lunchtime, but it was a very familiar trend for me that, oh, mum's in the pub, or she's not home, or you need to make your own dinner sometimes, or you have to walk home from school from being like a really young kid, that I never thought, you don't at that age, that was kind of a problem. It was just how my life was.
Yeah.
Yep.
And her not showing up to school things sometimes. And, there were certain events and moments really traumatic that I had to move through at a very young age. Coping strategies that I took on. My mum got bitten by one of our dogs. I remember when she was really drunk one night, and I must have been about 8, and there was blood everywhere. And I was the person at 8 years old that had the tea towel on my mum's face to stop the bleeding.
Oh, God.
And I didn't realise until years later, way into my healing journey, how much, I'm not affected by blood. Doesn't bother me. If you've cut your head open, I'm the first person you want there, because I'll be there. Doesn't bother me, because I'd become resilient to so much pain and so much trauma. But I didn't understand that at that time. So I took on a lot of beliefs from my mum, projected and unconsciously. She used to pick apart my body very, very verbally about my stretch marks, and, oh, your sister would look better in that, or what are those horrible lines on your body, or years and years of that programming. Yeah. And it was an unlearning then. Oh, okay, well, is that true? And is that even mine? Oh, hold on a second. Up until I reckon I was probably 30, so like 8-9 years ago, I still didn't wear a pair of shorts.
Yeah. Because of comments that she'd made.
About my legs.
Oh, wow.
So many years. And I was like,
Especially when it's coming from your mother.
The one person.
Who's meant to like protect you and tell you the truth, correct?
And I feel like your mum, you expect your mum is like the one that loves you the most, the one that tells you the absolute truth because she doesn't want you to be hurt. I would, yeah.
Isn't it funny though that the mums are sometimes the one that could be causing a lot of damage to their children?
It really is. And through the years that I've been doing this work and through all the years of my own healing, and it was probably 8 years, and I mean consistently. I was in therapy for the first 4 of that. Like every week I'd show up to therapy to talk about my problems. Great, sign me up for this shit again. And it was hard. It really, really was. And the way I started to look at it was anything my mum said to me was a projection of her inner reality.
Yeah.
It wasn't about me and my body and what I looked like and the things that I did or didn't do. That was her stuff.
How she was feeling about herself. Yeah.
And it's a projection. So when you can actually see that and be like, oh, she's just saying that because that's her inner world. I don't need to take that on or believe it to be my truth. That's just her projection in this moment. And it allowed me to just pivot just a little bit. And I think society, I used to get really jealous of my friends that had a beautiful, loving mum and dad. And I was like, oh my gosh, what's that like? My mum loved me and I felt loved, right? I know with all my heart she loved me. And in those moments, she did the best she could, right? I actually firmly believe that now. And I'll loop back to that line in a minute. But it was like when I could see that what she was doing and saying was her, okay, I don't need to take that on or believe that. And I can see that I had a mum, but it just looked different.
Yeah.
It doesn't need to look like these movies or like, oh, my best friend's got this amazing mum and dad that are there for her and that show up and that support her and that she can have these conversations with. That part of me felt like I was missing something. And in society, I don't know one person really genuinely that I can say that has a beautiful, loving, amazing, deeply connected, heartfelt relationship with their mum. Like, who does?
We were talking about this before we started the potty because I feel like everyone had this perception of what a mum should look like. And in some ways you do, even I felt disappointed. I grew up a little wog girl with a mum that had learned nothing really from her mum at all about really anything, just go out and live and learn. And then she tried in her own way to teach me. And I was like, get away from me. Like, I'll learn it myself. Like, I'm past that point. Yeah. And it's only actually until I had my own kids that she actually related to me. So the only time our relationship, mother and daughter relationship now has changed and has become better since I've become a mother because it's almost like she could relate to me in some way. Yeah. Yet I was looking at, like you were saying, the movies or at such and such's mum and daughter relationship that could talk about sex and her boyfriends and all the cool things. And I was like, mum barely told me about a period.
Yeah, and do you know, it's so interesting you say that because my mum wasn't even there when I started my period.
Yeah.
She was in hospital for 11 weeks. I was like 11. I didn't know what to do. I didn't even I had to put tissue in my neck. Like the trauma in that alone, it's just so much. But this perception people have of anything is so skewed by society and by social media. Oh, you have a primary caregiver, whether that's a mum, a dad, an auntie, a grandma, adopted, whatever. It doesn't need to look like any way. It looks how it looks to you, and it's okay that that's different. It really is. If people can be with that, it's okay that my relationship looks different. Because we try, it should look like this. My mum should show up for me and she should. They often don't have capacity to.
They're dealing with their own shit. They don't even know what they're dealing with.
Exactly. Yeah. And I just want to loop back to that line I said because I talk about it a lot, about our parents doing the best they can. And It's from a Louise Hay book. This book changed my life. It's How to Heal Your Life by Louise Hay. Would recommend anybody reads it. It was one of the first spiritual books I ever read. And when I read that line, it really changed my perspective of things. And I was like, oh, yeah. But then years later, I realised that there was a certain bypassing in that of my very real and present pain. Yeah, okay. She may have done the best she could, but you know what? That best fucking sucked.
I love.
I'm being real. Like, it sucked that I had to let myself in when I was 7 because my mum wasn't home.
Yeah.
It sucked that she wasn't there sometimes. It sucked that...
You're acknowledging it.
Yeah. Okay, I can give myself permission to be a child and be like, I don't want this though.
Yeah.
And when I gave permission for that pain, then I could see that, yes, she actually did with what she had, the knowledge, the tools, the understanding, the wisdom that my nana had given to her. And my nana's nana had given to her. You know, it's generational, the mother wound that just keeps getting passed down. And when you can see that, yes, you may have done, and that might not have always been great, and you give permission for your pain to exist in that, there's space for your humanity.
That's powerful.
I need to take some tips from this.
Yeah, I know. I've just been like, wow, that is incredible, because that's actually how I've forgiven my mum. And not that she was a bad mother or anything like that, but I was like, hold on. I think about myself as a mum. I fucking don't know what I'm doing. I really don't. Like, I'm winging it every day. I've got 4 kids, and you would think, you know, I've learnt from the first 2 because I've got 2 older ones and then the 2 younger ones. But because they're all so different and it's just like I've changed and I'm older, I'm still fucking up. And I said it to my therapist, actually. I was like, I was having a real sad moment. I'm like, oh my God, and I'm just shit mom, and I'm feeling guilty, and I don't know what I'm doing. And he's like, every single kid is going to think and feel at one point or another that you fucked them up and that you made mistakes that they never want to do again, that they're going to be like, I'm not going to do that as a mother. So you change that, but then you do something else. You know what I mean? He's like, we all create like things that we're never going to be perfect. And
listen, I think we should just applaud ourselves that we've kept our kids alive, because half the time I think that I'm going to, like I can't even feed myself. Like,
yeah, but this is really, it's really like, it's interesting. I love hearing it from that perspective. And I was like, wow, I did forgive my mum for like things that I felt like she did wrong, because I was like, hold on, when she was 38, she didn't know what she was doing. And now I'm the same age as her, and I can relate to that because I don't know what I'm doing. And she was just doing the best that she could.
And when you're compassionate with yourself,
yeah,
for your own mistakes and fuck-ups and not knowing what you're doing and winging it half the time. Like, no one gave us a manual for life, let alone motherhood, right?
Jesus, yeah.
It's like no one told you what to do or how to do it. And even if they did, no one's perfect at the end of the day. But then that gives you, if I can be compassionate with myself for anything that I do in any given moment, it gives you more capacity to be compassionate with another. You're never going to be able to be compassionate for your mum for all that she does or all her mistakes or all that she said, unless you can do it for you first.
I also feel though that when we have parents, like I'm sure all of us do, don't we almost learn something from what they did with us that we don't want to do with our children? It's like we try and change things, like have more of an open relationship with our kids, or, you know, try to be more present, just things like that, like maybe things that our parents didn't do.
Like their teachings, their learnings.
Yeah, it's like you're almost like, I'm not going to do what you did.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Because that's kind of where I'm at now. I'm like, I will never be like you. And I never gonna have it. No, it's all Aladdin. A friend like you. Do, do, do.
I know where you're going with that, but I was like, I think that's a wrong
The tune
song.
came into my head, but
Never
it was the wrong one.
Never had a friend
that's
like you. Something like that.
Yeah.
Love it.
But yeah, I was like, it's incredible that you've come from such a past, like so much. Were you the eldest in the family as well?
I'm the baby of 4.
Wow.
But did you take charge?
Yeah, pretty much.
So the baby, what made you step up over the elder ones? Like, could you see like they were like, didn't know what to do? Wow.
There's quite a big difference between me and my other siblings, age-wise. You know, I've got one that's 3 years older than me. Me and my sister are very close, but she has 4 little ones.
Yeah.
Like you. Like, capacity is stretched. Let's say.
Yes, it is.
The capacity is stretched. And then I have an older brother as well that's 9 years older than me. So there's quite a big age gap, but I was on my path. I was on the journey. I was still home when a lot of the others had already flown the nest. They got a different experience of my mum than I did. Equally as challenging, as traumatic, but just a different flavour of it. But because I was on my healing journey, I started to see things in a new way. And my other siblings at that time, they didn't have that capacity. So there was still a lot of hatred going on for my mum and how she behaved and how she showed up and the decisions she made. But because I had done, quote unquote, my work on myself, I could see her in a new way.
Yep. Yep.
So I didn't need to try and change her. And this was the biggest thing, like, well, I don't want my mum to do that. I need her to be different. But when I came to do my own work and then I could see that I don't actually need to change this, I can just love her. And that took me a really long time to get to, like years, because I did hate her. Like, and I don't say that lightly. We had a really hard relationship for a long time. And I didn't feel like I was wanted, like, and that has been confirmed. Like, my mum even said that. Like, so for me, it was like I had capacity to do this a different way. And I felt like my journey, my spirituality, my healing path, everything brought me to this place. And my mum is one of my biggest teachers.
Wow. Wow. So when you moved to Australia at 24, were you speaking to your mum at the time?
Yes, we had reconciled our relationship.
Okay. But you hadn't really, how long before you moved here did you not speak to her?
It went for probably maybe 3 years. No contact. 16 till I was almost 20.
Yep.
And then I actually had nowhere to live and had to go crawling back. Mom, I'm going to live with you again, please. But it was always very jaded. The relationship was never, I never had that with my mum. It was never like a beautiful, loving relationship until much later, but then it was almost too late.
But when you moved back at whatever age it was, 19, 20, was she still in those bad habits? Like, was she still drinking? Was she still, it didn't stop?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mum never changed.
Yeah.
Okay.
So your whole entire life, pretty much, she's been an alcoholic.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I think the most transformational time was when I was 30. Actually, probably about 27. 27, I think it really started to shift for me because I'd done a lot of work then and I could see her in a new light. And I almost started to see beyond what she said and beyond her actions. I saw almost like her soul. I saw the real person that was loving and that was caring and that did have that beautiful big heart, but it was covered like my own was with pain and trauma and challenges. And her trajectory was distraction. I'm going to drink because life's uncomfortable.
Yep. That's her distraction.
Yeah.
That's her masking.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I wasn't prepared to walk down that path. I'd done it with bulimia for too long.
Yep.
And I was like, this is not going to be my journey.
And everyone's got something different. So hers was alcohol. Like mine was excessive sport and disordered eating. I mean, and I'm sure yours is shopping. Excessively. It could be worse. I mean, it could be worse.
It could be worse.
But yeah, I swear everyone's got something, and some things are just worse than others for themselves and those around them.
Yeah, internally, I think we all do it. Like, who doesn't want to distract on social media? God, I had a shit day. Just let me scroll on funny reels for 20 minutes. Like, who doesn't want to do that? Because we want some reprieve from discomfort.
Yeah.
No one wants to sit in that long term. But I've learned over the years that the distraction is masking something here. Okay, maybe I just need to be here for a moment. This might be uncomfortable, but if I can be here just for a moment, it will dissipate. And I don't need a tool to mask it, and then I'm free.
Ooh, yeah. Can you okay, how would you do that? It is so uncomfortable when you are feeling like shit. Like, how do you even begin that?
Okay, so scientifically proven, a feeling only takes up to 120 seconds to move through the body.
Okay. Tell me more.
Okay. So something happens and you get pissed off, or you're upset, or something is arising in your life that's cause for a feeling, whatever it might be. Most people cannot fully allow that feeling to be. What they do is they go and think about why they feel it. So you think if you've ever been angry for a couple of days, like maybe someone's pissed you off or they've done something, you're like, I'm so mad, you're really annoying me. They're not annoying you for 3 days. They annoyed you in that moment for 3 minutes or 2 minutes, and you carry it by thinking about it for 3 days.
Oh my God.
So,
oh my God. That is...
I've been mad for 5 days.
Oh my God. I felt that. I was like, oh my God, that made so much sense.
yeah. And we all do it,
But
right?
I'm still mad.
Yeah. I'm still mad because you think of all the reasons why they shouldn't have done it, or, you know, I'm talking about a person. Oh God. No, but like, yeah. Oh.
So
That
if you
deep.
can be with that feeling, and I'm not saying it's comfortable. Like, have you ever tried to just allow anger to move through you? No, because you don't want to, because it's
I don't
like,
even know what that feels like. What do you mean?
yeah. So, okay, anger is one of the high spectrum emotions, so it's got a lot of energy behind it. And it's usually like it'll boil up from your feet. I feel it, like it comes in and you're like, oh. You want to let it out your fingers, like you want to scream or you want to do something, just let that anger move through your body. Be with, like, just be like, oh my God, I'm going to stamp my feet. I'm just angry. I'm just angry. Like, let it be. And then it moves. And if you think then you're still angry, you're not still angry. You're thinking about why you're angry. Okay, I'm thinking about that person that pissed me off 2 days ago, and you're replaying the story about what they did or what they said, or it should be different. It shouldn't be any different. It's in the past.
So pretty much we need to act like our children because, right, our
Let it
kids get
out.
angry, they scream, they stomp their feet, and then they're like, hey, can I have a cookie?
Yeah. Kids
are the most amazing
Wow.
expression of how to deal with emotions, because they're not conditioned like us. Their egos often aren't fully developed yet. Their inner critic isn't fully online. So they just feel. And I know it's not comfortable when your kid's on the floor in the supermarket, like having the biggest tantrum because you won't let them have something. But I just go, you are a fully unexpressed emotion just riding through the body.
Yep.
They're fine. A minute later.
So, Rose, next time we just need to throw ourselves on the floor in this shopping centre. It doesn't matter. Just feel it.
I feel it.
Do it.
Actually, that's something that I don't do. Like, sometimes I want to cry and I just should. And sometimes I say to myself, so I'm like, I'm going to go watch I want to find a trigger, the Notebook, something that's going to make me. And I said to my friend, I just want to have a really good cry. And she's like, what? And I was like, I just need to cry.
You need a release.
Like a therapeutic cry.
Yeah.
And sometimes, and then I think sometimes we stop ourselves from being angry, or we've been conditioned as, I'm going to say it again, as females, I feel like a lot of we're like supposed to be good girls and supposed to be polite and all this shit. And it's like, you know, I've come from an Italian family. I've got I've been told not to let my pride, well, we're very proud people, but don't show other people what you're feeling. Don't let it out, blah, blah, blah. So holding that emotion, not crying, being strong.
And those beliefs, right, we take on.
Yes.
You know, my mum used to say, don't cry, you're okay. What have you got to be mad about? Oh, okay, so I'm never going to be mad. I'm never going to cry. I'm going to eat all my emotions. Welcome to what I did for years.
Yes, that's me.
And this is where those beliefs come in that are often passed down, that I say it's now our responsibility to unpack those and go, oh, I think or I'm believing to be true that I can't do this or that it's wrong for me or bad. If I just give myself permission to be a human, like, I'm sorry, but I don't know one person who doesn't feel. But we all try and push it down.
Psychopaths. Rose Googled it yesterday.
I was Googling it. I was like, oh, they don't care about nothing.
She's like, what is a psychopath? That's actually what she Googled yesterday.
I was like, I didn't actually know. I was like, but so let's just feel. Let's feel.
Just give yourself permission to be a human.
120 seconds is actually not that long.
It really isn't.
And then to let go of the whys. Why we're angry?
Yeah.
Why we're sad? Like, is there a time and place? You can unpack that a little bit, but
I think letting go is hard.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of people really struggle with it. And I actually released something the other day where I was sharing, how about we just let it be?
Jesus Christ, I wish I could.
Because we don't like it. Well, I don't like that happened.
Yes.
Oh, okay. That's okay to not like something. But can you change what happened past tense? You don't have to like it.
Krista's like,
My jaw is literally like clenching.
she's like, I don't like it and I can't change it, but I still don't like it.
Things I'm mad about.
Yeah, so let yourself be mad.
Just be mad.
Yeah. I want to sacred rage.
Yes, be mad.
Rage as women, we need to see it more like unexpressed, like just giving yourself permission that you are going to feel things. Stop hiding it and pushing it in. And that doesn't mean that the person in your life needs to get your rage. It means you are with it. Oh, yes, do that. And then it's like, oh, I actually feel just that marginal a little bit better.
Yeah.
Like your kids do. When they let it out, they feel fine almost instantly,
Sometimes
right?
we feel really good after a cry or really good after just screaming or whatever it is, or just actually being angry.
But how do I let go of things? Like literally how?
Okay. So rather than letting it go, because there's a lot of pressure in that, you have to let this go. Oh, if you don't let it go, it's going to haunt you or you're going to hold on to it forever. Why can't you let it go, Crystal? Like, let it go. And there's that pressure build up, right? Okay. Can I change this? Yes or no?
No.
Okay. That's where you're powerful. I cannot change this. You don't have to like it. Can I be with that?
Stop. I'm going to cry.
Yeah. And that's the part that wants to release it.
Yeah.
And that's the energy that it's painful. And life is. And it throws so many really hard things at us over and over again. And it's letting that emotion be like, yeah, I can be with my feet. I can be with myself here.
Oh. But what if you can change it? See, I'm the opposite. I can change what I'm feeling, but I just stew on it instead.
Yeah, and a lot do. And I did for a really long time. And it was my hardest work.
Yeah.
Self-loathing, beating myself up, being mean to myself, judging myself, criticising myself, living in my head. And I had so much pain, a lot, that I'd grown up with and that I've continued to move through over the years, but I've learned to alchemize that pain and turn it into my greatest strength.
Oh.
And my biggest power. And my mum was a catalyst for that, big time.
It's so powerful. This is such a huge takeaway, Charlotte. Like, I have to even just thank you now, and we're not even done talking. This is why our podcast can't go for fucking an hour. Damn it. We know this. All right. Jeez, that was deep. I'm going to take that away. I think Chris is going to take that away. We're all in the feels right now. What we don't know about corporate, I was reading.
What we don't know about
corporate. Charlotte she was a corporate debt collector. She was in corporate. She was a debt collector. And I have to bring this up because it makes me giggle. And now she is a super spiritual Reiki master. What a 360.
Oh my God. Like, I can't even explain my life now.
I was like, how the hell?
Yeah.
It's wild, isn't it? Like, and you also mentioned before, and I want to know this story. You say that your granddad sent your husband to you. So you've come from Sydney and you come to Perth.
I was in Sydney when I met my husband.
You were in Sydney when you met your husband.
Yeah. Debt collecting. We both worked in insurance at the time. Really random.
Yep.
And there was a big of a setup going on at work. Like they wanted me to meet this guy that worked for a broker, and I was like, no, I don't need to meet him. I'm not interested. I'm single for the first time in years, living the high life in Sydney, all good. And it kept going for 3 months. And I was like, oh my God, no, leave me alone. And eventually he ended up coming to the office for a training, and the state manager, I didn't need to be in this training room. And he literally said, Charlotte, we need you in here. I was like, no, you are all in on this to set me up with this guy. No, not interested. Anyway, Ended up having to go in this room. It was the most awkward thing I've ever done in my life because I was in the corner like, I do not want to, don't set me up. Please don't set me up. Anyway, ended up meeting him that night and we've been together ever since.
Oh, that's cute.
And I was still healing at that time. Like I was still in the throes, like in therapy, and told him a little snippet, like I didn't want the guy to run for the hills about my past.
So how old were you when you met your partner? Because you were 24 when you got here.
25 when I met him.
Oh, okay. Okay. So you have just stopped. How long were you binge free, did you say?
So I was purge free for about 9 months when we got together, but I was still in the throes of anxiety. Like I was still having panic attacks. I couldn't get on public transport. I had a little bit of agoraphobia. Couldn't leave the house sometimes. Like I was just in a mess. I was a mess. And I remember this one night I was lay on my bed and my roommate at the time, and I just had a panic attack and I literally couldn't get out of my bed, and he was coming round. We'd been together maybe 3 months. I was like, oh, he's going to see the depths right now. Like, if he doesn't run for the hills, I don't know what's going to make him run for the hills. And I remember him coming into the bedroom and he just sat on the floor. He didn't try and fix. He didn't try and change it. He just sat, and I think he stroked my head or held my hand, and I got this message. Granddad sent him for you.
Oh, my God.
And I didn't know my granddad.
Oh, my God.
Oh, you never met your granddad?
He died when I think I was about 18 months old. Or
Oh, wow.
2.
Was it your mum's dad or your dad's dad?
My mum's dad.
Okay,
That's
now you throw a
great.
spanner in there. That's
Also, I need to quickly get something out of me. What's agoraphobia?
Oh, and you can't leave the house.
Oh, okay. I was thinking about it. Okay.
no, that's what
I thought it was when you're angry and you're like, agoraphobia.
You know what? You wouldn't have been the only one thinking that.
Oh,
Sorry,
okay,
but-
good.
Yeah.
You can't leave the house. Like, I
Oh,
just
can't leave the
struggle to get
house.
out the
Okay,
house.
like hermit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agoraphobia.
Agoraphobia. See, another
It
learning.
better be called that now, and I've not just made it up.
Yeah, it just didn't sounded like when you're aggro.
Like you're angry. Oh,
Yeah.
that's
I have to
crazy.
Google that now.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I was going to while you were like telling your story, and then I was like, oh, but no, it's rude.
That's us. Not rude, just like distracted. The
Yeah.
ADHD brain. I'm still like, what? Hold on, you never met your granddad? Now I'm like getting this spanner in the works. Which is your husband? Maybe now, but was your husband like spiritual at all?
When we met, I would say he's way more spiritually connected than I was. Like his mum was always into homeopathy, and she was always doing things like that. Like
Oh,
he
God,
was
what's homeopathy?
natural medicine.
Stop saying like these words because I don't know what they mean.
Natural medicine.
Okay.
Herbs.
Okay, good. It was better than what I thought it was going to be. Well, I was kind of like homophobic. I don't know. What did you say?
Homeopathy.
Okay. I'm glad it was that.
Okay.
So he
not
was more
homophobic,
spiritually
so it's
connected.
all right.
No, he was more spiritually connected. I think I asked him, like, are you religious, like anything like that? And I think he told me he was Buddhist, and I laughed at him. Like, I was not on the spiritual path.
That's what I mean.
Like I am
didn't.
now.
You weren't there.
No. So it was through the journey.
Yeah.
And he was, he's just so grounded, like so centered. Like,
You've done like a 360 on him as well.
Hold a minute though. So at this point, you were not psychic,
I'd say
or you
no.
were? No, hold a minute. You were, but you were not knowing.
I didn't know I was.
Yes.
So I always used to feel like, or have knowings and senses of something going on, like those gut feelings of, I need to do this. I've got to move to Perth. I need to move to Perth. I don't know why. I have to do this right now. It was like this pull that I couldn't explain.
But you didn't know exactly what it was called or what you were feeling.
Yeah. And then when I did my Reiki training, which was about 7 years ago now, I went through like a whole massive journey. Like the craziest shit happened to me in a week. I was like, I actually called the Reiki master and said, you need to stop this. Like I couldn't close my eyes without like seeing all these lights. I was traveling through galaxies. I was like awake for 3 days. Like, fuck, you need to make this stop.
You think you're going mental.
I thought I was going mental. And then I'd walk past people in the street and I'd go, oh God. Oh. And I was feeling all these things from people, but had no clue what it was. I was so confused. I was like, what is this? And then when I started to give Reiki, then it made sense. Because I was like, oh.
They're not. it's not me.
It's not me. Like, I'm feeling all these things coming from other people. I'm empathetically connecting and receiving all this guidance that's coming through.
So is that the difference between mediumship and psychic? So are you feeling...
There's lots of different varieties of psychic senses. So they're called your clair senses. So you can be clairvoyant, which is where you see things in the room. Like, you may see an energy, you may see a spirit. I'm not clairvoyant. You can be clairsentient, which I am, where you have a feeling, like there's a sense of something. I'm also claircognizant, so I know things without knowing how I know them. And then I'm also clairempath, so I feel. So everyone has psychic senses. Everyone has the ability to connect to them. It's only when you have to work on them. They're a practice to develop and grow as they get stronger and stronger. And for me, it was confusing at first because I didn't get it. Like, I didn't understand. A mediumship is where you tap into spirit from the other side. Sometimes that happens to me during a healing. If I'm healing somebody, sometimes I get an energy, and it's like this. Usually I'll get a feeling on one side of my body that comes through. Usually it's right for a female, left for a male that'll come through. Sometimes they say, I'm this person. And I go, okay, yeah, awesome. Thanks for this. Great. And I'm really practical with it too, because sometimes it doesn't make sense to me. I go, I have no idea what this means. Like, I saw, there's so many situations that I can tell you, but I saw at one time this lady came in for a healing, and her grandma came into the session, and she had this like really random umbrella, like, and it was this weird umbrella thing. And she's like pointing this umbrella at me, and I'm like, okay. And I can just like sense and know. And she started saying this stuff to me. So I'm like, okay, I have no idea if this makes sense. And I told the client, and she was like, oh my God, my Nana Jo. And I was like, oh, Nana Jo had an umbrella? Like, yeah. She used to use it as like a walking stick, and she'd point it at us when we were kids. And I was like,
what the hell?
Oh, okay, now that makes sense.
That's made me get all...
Yeah, that's crazy.
And it doesn't happen all the time. Usually when the spirit's really close or they're really connected and ready to come through, they will. So it won't happen for every single person or in every session. But the clairsentient and the clair-knowing piece for me does. So I can touch somebody, and when I'm connected to it, I feel. But I used to always be open. Like, I didn't realise that I can turn it off and then switch it on again, because I was just open to, oh my God, the world's so hard, and why is everyone struggling? Like, I felt everything so deeply, but now I can turn it off and on, which is great.
Yes.
For my sanity.
I can imagine. Yeah, I could definitely understand where you're coming from there. Oh my God. So I was driving here, and I've got to go with my gut on this then. I kept imagining myself asking you, why Perth? So you have been all over the world, everywhere. Like, how many countries? I think you said 35 different
I'm at 50 now.
50 countries. Jeez, and yet
I've done 2.
And you've chosen Perth. And I kept thinking, why Perth?
Yeah, there was something special about it here. I really realised how much I can trust that feeling, that knowing. Time and time again. It's guided me more than I can ever explain. Like, what's come through from me deeply trusting in that wisdom. And I've lived in Canada. Canada's also a real special place in my heart. You know, I lived in Thailand for a bit, Europe. But when I came to Perth, I felt like there was something here. I didn't know what it was. I couldn't explain it. It was whether it's the energy of the place, or the clients I get to meet, or the healing that gets to happen here for me. And I was just like, I've got to go. Okay, work. I'm leaving. I'm transferring to Perth, if that's okay. I told my husband, like, we'd been together, I think, 10 months. I was like, so moving to Perth.
I'm moving. I'm moving. I really like you still.
Would love it if you'd come with me. And he was like, yeah, why not? He's a traveller. He's a traveller too. So he was like, yeah. And then we came here, and a lot happened, you know, for me during that time. I think Perth held me in it. A lot of big moments and events happened for me here too. But yeah, it's just something special about it. And you only know when you live here, right?
Yeah, it is true. I love Perth. I can't imagine living anywhere else. But then again, I haven't really lived anywhere else. But I do love to travel. But then, okay, so you're in Perth. You've pretty much, you're like, I really like you. You're coming. If you want to be with me, you're coming to Perth too.
Yeah.
since then you've like helped people. You help people internationally, online, in person. You do everything.
I did it remotely. I was a digital nomad for 2 years. I felt a pull again, like I want to travel. I want to see the world. I want to experience different cultures. I want to see what it's like to have no possessions and live out of a bag. I just wanted to do that for myself, like to fully live life. Like, and I'm a big one for doing that. And when I feel the pull, no matter how scary it is, I go, okay, let's go. We're doing it. And off we go.
Oh, that gives me anxiety. I don't think I could do that. I'm too scared.
So 2 years.
Digital nomad.
Actually, it is really freeing. You realise how much you don't need. It's like when
This was you recently in Bali.
This is me. I realise I need nothing.
And that is freedom.
It's beautiful. I didn't care about anything. The house could have burned down to the ground. All I wanted was my dog. Like I did not care about one thing, about shoes, about bags, about nothing. Like I was like, I've got everything I need here. Experience, my kids, my family, and it was such. I can't get that feeling out of my head. Such a nice feeling. And then with the intuition, you say we've all got that. I swear we all do. We all have the gut instinct. Like, how important is it to actually listen to it when it's screaming at you, even if you're not a super spiritual person?
You know, you don't need to be and define spirituality these days. Like, I think it's anything, but I think so many people live in their head. They overthink things, they second guess, they worry, they live in fear, overthinking the future, what's coming, living in the past. And for me, your intuition is like that guidance system that can support you, and everyone gets it in a different way. Some people feel it in their gut, like I've just got this feeling, or my gut's just telling me I should ring that person. I just feel like I should drive down this street. So it's a feel, like a lot of it is a feel or a sense. That's the way I give people to start off with, really starting to tune into it. Like, is this my head? Is it fear? Is it like, you should do, you need to? That's the mind that's coming in. Your intuition's going to be more of that like softer, gentle, move to Perth. Well, that makes no sense. And it's often like a statement that'll come through, and that can also be spirit talking to you. They may talk in statement form. It's never loud, shouty, bossy, mean, cruel. That's not your intuition. That's your mind. It's that, okay, I'm feeling something. There's this weird thing that I feel like I just should do this. Oh, I don't know why, but there's a feeling behind it. Often your intuition's not always going to be comfortable. People think, oh, my intuition's going to be all roses and butterflies. Oh, yeah, Charlotte, sell everything you own and travel the world. Right now? Really? You want me to do that? Oh, you need to move to Perth and tell your husband, like, oh, okay, this is really scary. What if he says no? What if he leaves me? Okay, I want to move to Perth. Trust in it anyway. Like, trust in it anyway, and start with small things. So if you want to start to work with your intuition, start with what you want for your lunch. Do I have this roll or do I eat this salad? Oh, I'm feeling a pull towards the roll. Great. Because your body is going to tell you what it wants and guide you versus, oh, you should eat the salad because it's better for you. My body wants the roll today. I was going to say, if
KFC and a salad was in front of me, I'm going to go for KFC.
But sometimes you might not. Sometimes you might be like, I'm not feeling like grease. And you'll go with what feels right.
Your gut. My gut, is my gut going to love that deep fried thing?
Probably.
Probably.
No. Not. My senses smell.
It's finger licking good.
I don't really like KFC.
No, I don't actually. I like the smell of it, and then I eat it, and then I'm like, oh, straight away, instant regret. Also celiac, so probably shouldn't have been eating that coated
gluten-free
coated chicken. No,
but celiacs, anyone with gluten-free, anyone with a lactose intolerance, they like all those things. Yeah. I love bread. I want to go to heaven. On my last wish is a sourdough. I want a hot, fresh, crunchy sourdough. Yeah, sludge butter, and I'm going out.
Is there a reason why we're always talking about bread?
I love bread. What?
Because when
we just always do. Me and you just always talk about bread.
I'm gluten free too, and when you can't have it, and they bring it to you in the restaurant, you're like,
and they put the little dinner roll next to you. They're like, bread, ma'am, and I'm like, fuck off.
Or they're like, that's your roll, and you could literally build a house with it because it's a brick. I'm like, yeah. Cool.
I was like, what is that?
Oh my God. But you know, I actually had it this week. I got myself into a pickle and somebody was demanding things from me, and my body was literally going, do not do this. Do not do it. And then my head was saying, oh, this and that, and you have to do it and blah, blah. And my insides were screaming like, do not. So then I was like, I can't, sorry. There's something telling me no. Like it is literally saying no.
It's screaming at you this
Screaming. Like I know you just said then it doesn't scream. I was like, this was fucking screaming.
because you weren't listening.
It was like, no.
It will whisper, it will nudge, and then it'll smack you around the head with a 2 before. You feel the nudge, a little bit of it, you shouldn't do that. And then you do it and then it's like, no, don't do that. And then you feel that again and you feel it again, and then it'll just be like, okay, we're going to put you in bed for a day. Are you going to listen now? And you go,
Yeah.
fuck.
Put you in your ass.
Why didn't I listen to that whisper? And you learn over time to start listening to the whisper.
And I still
before it
feel
gets-
shit about it, but I'm like, no, my insides were saying that this isn't right.
It just made me think about like your body whispers before it screams. So it's like listening to your body, as in like even when you're not feeling well, like your body's been telling you for God knows how long.
Oh, well, I wonder
body.
over
I'm talking
here
about your
who
body.
ignores that because you run on bloody empty and then you're like, oh, I wonder why I'm having a burnout.
Yeah, I know. Okay, I was saying yous as in like the listeners, but I knew it was me. Fucking asshole. So my body whispers.
She's like, I'm so tired, but I'm just going to drive 3 hours down south to do this and then end up in bed for a full week.
yeah, I got the flu. Okay, A and B. And the only way you can get influenza A and B at the same time is if you caught it at the same time. And I was like, okay, I need to rest. Cool, I will. And I'm actually still recovering from it. It's taken a long time. But enough about me. Again, stop it.
Can't help it.
I know.
Sorry.
She's like targeting me.
Yeah, well, you need to sometimes hear it, so. And I got a microphone.
And I can tell you right now.
Excuse me, we have a guest. This is a personal conversation.
I'm just loving witnessing this. Is great. I've been a bystander.
I don't know why, but today, like not today, but since you've been here, for some reason I feel like my body wants to crawl inside itself. Is that weird? No, I'm just being dead serious. Like I literally feel like it's so strange. I don't know if like things are happening. I don't know.
Well, maybe you're listening to yourself. Maybe
I don't know. Something weird's happening. My body's feeling weird.
You're quiet today.
Yeah, I feel strange. I think too many things are happening.
Strange bad, strange good.
No, I'm in a negative place at the moment.
And you know, sometimes when I speak or I'm sharing some truth or something's landing or you're getting emotional, it's uncomfortable for people.
Like, look, like I'm like this, like I'm 50.
Yeah,
I'm
bitch,
like,
I think it's your
I don't
turn
know.
now. It's uncomfortable when you're listening to yourself and realizing things and letting go.
I need to learn how to.
And listen to your
But
gut.
I'm like, maybe we should go get our rakes and go in the garden and do some Reiki.
So I can stop feeling
I think that's a different practice altogether. You're thinking of like, do you know what she's thinking
I'm
of?
thinking like Japanese, you know, little rakes in the garden? Like,
Yeah, she's thinking of the things,
what's that called?
Yeah. My kids call. No, my mum's call. Oh my God! Of all things, my mum's calling on our little mum. I'm on a podcast. I can't talk right now.
Oh shit, she said.
Okay, gotta go, mum. Bye.
Oh, that was funny.
Did she go? Oh shit.
She goes, oh shit.
I was like, of course, we're talking about mother wounds.
Yeah.
Hi, mum. Actually, yeah, lots of things about mum. Like
This
it's
week is all mum for me.
all about mum things. Yeah.
Usually it's all dad for me, but this week it's been all mum for me.
Yeah. It's been a really interesting theme for the past couple of weeks that I'm noticing with clients and people sliding into my DM being like, have you got a podcast on this or can you talk into it, please? Because I'm really struggling with it.
My sister's going to listen to this and it's going to be like,
It's going to trigger, yeah.
it's going to be like mind blowing for her too.
Okay, so then coming back to that, because obviously mum was keeping me on track because I was like, okay, we're an hour in and my mum had to call and I always have my phone off. So for some reason it must have been a little bit of guidance there. Your mum, you've healed your relationship with your mum and it's taken so long. Where is your relationship at now? And we're sharing with us before as well that your mum now has a very rare form of dementia. So after all these years, you finally healed your relationship and now we're here. Can you tell us a little bit more about it and what's going on?
So she initially got diagnosed about 8 years ago. And I noticed things, she lives over in the UK, and I started to notice things when I was calling her. She would be saying things that didn't quite make sense. Like sometimes she'd drop a random word in a sentence. I was like, oh, I'm a little bit worried about that. We flew her out to Perth. She came here and spent a couple of weeks with us. She'd never been to Australia. It was beautiful. And that trip really highlighted for me that something was really wrong. That something's not right here. Like I can sense, there's a lot, and there was lots of triggers in that trip. She still activated parts of me that was like, oh my God, my inner child right now wants to scream at you, and I'm pissed off, and I'm having to reparent, and she got lost, and so many things happened. But I really realized, okay, something's wrong. So then we ended up getting diagnosis for her, and it turns out she has a really rare form of dementia. It's diagnosed young. I think she was 57 when she got diagnosed with it, and it affects only 1% of the population.
Wow.
And the life expectancy is 6 years. They said that's good. She lasts 6 years.
Before, when you talked about this, I went straight to, was this from her being an alcoholic? Or no, it's not connected?
I believe on the spiritual path, this is my personal belief too, is that there are a number of factors that have triggered this. How great to forget all your pain.
That's true.
She was already trying to do that her whole life by the
100%. And I really believe that. She never looked after herself. She never loved herself. She never cared for herself. She gets cared for full time now. She gets fed. She gets loved. She gets looked after. And sometimes the way I perceive it from a deep soul level is we will learn and get the experiences this lifetime. That's part of that soul path. I believe especially with her own journey and what she went through and experienced. And, there's so much new research out about dementia now. I did a lot of research back in the day, but because it's so rare, the form that she has, and not a lot of people understood it. They thought, oh, she's got dementia. And I'm like, but she doesn't. You think that it's that bracket of she's forgetful, but it's not. She still knows who we are. Even now, she can't talk, she can't walk, she can't feed herself, she's barely mobile. But I walk into that room and I guarantee you will see her smile like you've never seen her smile.
Yep.
So does she recognize you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She still knows who we are.
She still knows who you are.
She knows what's going on.
Yeah.
But she just can't communicate. She can't.
Can she write or no?
She can't write, she can't read, she can't watch, she can hear, but that's basically the last thing that she's got is
a hearing. Yeah, because not all forms she's nonverbal.
Yeah. So it's been, again, a really big journey. But because I'd done and healed so much of my relationship with her, I could just love her.
Oh.
And my husband and I cared for her for 9 months back in 2019.
Yep.
We went back and we looked after her and cared for her.
Rose is just about to throw her phone at the wall.
I am. I actually hate I spend a lot of time on my phone, but I actually hate.
You sat on it.
I sat on it and everything. I didn't even want, and you know what's worse is I couldn't work out how to shut it off. I was like,
how do I turn this off?
I actually hate speaking on the phone. Literally. I was like, no one talk to me again. I need to heal from that as well. I've really enjoyed speaking to you about all this. It's very deep. I fucking have learnt more than I thought I was going to learn. How about you? You're thinking, you're really taking it in.
Yeah.
This is hit home, this episode.
Definitely. But I said to Rose before you even came in, I was like, I feel like it's going to be weird for me. There was just something that just felt, I don't know how to explain it. I don't know how to explain it. I feel weird. My body feels weird. That's all I'm going to say.
Well, as soon as I started telling Crystal about what we're going to talk about today, I was like, I'll just give you a rough idea of what I've done some voices with Charlotte. And we're talking about mother wounds, and I really feel like I need to lean into my mum and the story there because a lot of people feel it. She was just like, well, let me tell you what's been going on the last couple of days, and I was like, oh,
it's a lot.
Yeah. And I do see it a lot. I have seen it a lot lately actually on social media. People talking about their relationships with their mums and how they're disappointed or how they wish they had a different relationship and how they crave it, and how Mother's Day actually triggers a lot of people for that reason. So it's very interesting in the way that you've been able to say, can you change it?
It's this expectation of what we
And
expect,
the expectations,
from our mums and how we want them to show up and how we want them to be and how we want them to act. And it's hard to have something that's different to that.
Yeah.
It really is. And when you look at it, and the way I've done this is my mum is the way she is. And she chose a journey, and she is a human, and she went through and navigated life. And I can't change that. I couldn't change what she did. I couldn't change how she talked. I couldn't change how she showed up or any of that she said to me. But I could choose my choice. How do I want this to carry forward? Do I want this to be my story where I blame her and I'm a victim and why didn't you do? And I was in that for a long time until I went, hold on. Now I'm giving my power away and I want to enjoy my life. I want to live my life to the fullest. I don't want this to be my experience. And I'm committed to loving you and having zero expectations of you as a parent.
Wow. That's yes. Look at her. I know I can't look at you right
it's
now.
Hard. It's really hard because
I'm
want
like
our
super envious of you right now.
Because she's there and you're not there yet.
And you'll get there. If you're committed to doing the work, and anyone that's listening, I know it's painful and I know it's hard, but trust me, your freedom exists on the other side of it.
I'm just like, how the hell are you like this? I want to be like you, but
it's going to take work.
Don't
It's gonna
see
take
it happening.
work.
The desire's
You're
there.
talking and I'm like, that's what I want to be like. But my brain is like saying other things.
Because it's unfamiliar, right? We love being in that situation where it's like, oh, you should do it. And we're attached to it. And when we're not attached to anything they do or say, oh, hold on a minute. You can just be the human that you are. And I can just love you. And trust me, when my mum got diagnosed and I've grieved, and I'm still grieving her, she's still with us 8 years later, watching that happen slowly has been so painful. And do you know what she taught me? How to love myself.
Oh.
So from all that hate and all that pain and all that trauma that I went through as a child, now watching her, it teaches me to love me. Because I have to sit and grieve when I hold her hand, and I have to love her. And she might not be here next week or next month. And she's my biggest spiritual teacher. Because I learn how to be the best person I can be from everything that I experienced. And that's your choice. No one can take that away from you. Ever. And that's where you're powerful.
Jesus. Oh, my God. Honestly.
I think this whole week I was like saying like, stop playing the fucking victim card. But maybe I'm the one that's playing the victim card. Maybe I'm the one that's like, I'm the victim.
I'm the problem, it's me.
And if you were powerful, what would you do?
Don't ask me that question because I'm not right now.
But if you were, what would you do? If you were a powerful human, what would you do?
I would forgive her.
But first, forgive yourself.
It's fucking Jesus. All I
We
can
can't
say
forgive
is,
another until we forgive
right
ourselves.
now, I just want to thank your mum.
Exactly.
I want to thank your mum for creating the person that you are. And this is where I could get emotional with you. You need to thank your mum for creating the Crystal that she is today. And I want to thank all the people that fucking did me dirty, and they did, and I shouldn't make a joke of it. Because honestly, they've made me the person that I am today. I mean, it doesn't mean
true.
that I
We
have
do
to
grow from our traumas, don't we?
Yes.
If you're willing to integrate and learn from them. And integrating it is not pretty, but when what you just said, Rose, is so powerful because it's that thank you. Oh my gosh. Every single person I get to heal or mentor or that's listening to this podcast or that I get to serve and support is because of my mum. So all that quote unquote negative or horrible things she ever said to me made me the best person ever. It made me have compassion in my heart. It made me able to hold someone else in the darkest, deepest stuff because I've been there.
Yeah.
And my mum's my biggest teacher and my greatest lesson. And I'm so grateful to her disease because it also gave me that. Without dementia, I wouldn't really understand what true love for myself looked like.
Oh my God. It's such a powerful moment. Wow. Charlotte, I just don't know what to say. I was going to have questions and be like, what can you teach us? I think the whole time this whole episode, you've taught us just so much, and I hope that the people listening like today or whenever they listen just can take a little piece away from this. There's so many moments there that I've just been sitting here with my mouth open like, oh my God. Just so many logical moments where I was like, oh, that makes so much sense. Oh, okay. But even the gratitude and it makes me think of my own gratitude, I suppose. And this is where I have healed a lot, is that I'm actually I have not a lot, doesn't mean none. I have still got a lot of healing to do, but not a lot of hate for things and the people that have done me wrong in my past or things that have happened to me, because I am so happy to be in the position that I am today, to be able to share my pain to help others work through theirs. So, yeah, thank you so much for all your knowledge and your words and your wisdom and taking the time today. But, yeah, also thank you to your mum. Who would have thought I would have been thanking your mum on your podcast today?
Who would have thought?
But, yeah, we're really, grateful that you came on today.
Thanks so much for having me.
So I guess now we need to know, like, where do people book a session with you?
How do we find you?
Yeah, all the dates.
So I'm on Instagram, usually on my stories quite a lot, which is Charlotte_Beswick. You can book a healing with me. I work out of Fremantle in Perth and also Osborne Park on different days of the week, and also virtual healings and mentoring. So I support people with mentoring sessions, whether it's to work through something they're stuck on, a belief, how to love themselves on the deepest level possible and get out of their head. That's via mentoring, and you can find my website details below as well.
We will put everything in the show notes for you to find Charlotte. And
I also just want to say that I am giving you a discount. So anyone that listens to this podcast, use the code BEARING15 for a 15% discount off a healing session.
well, we'll be booking our own sessions.
Legit.
But no word of a lie, we will put everything that you can find Charlotte through on our show notes. But honestly, jump on her Instagram. She provides such amazing little short snippets of wisdom every single day. That's where I found Charlotte originally. I think somehow we connected on Instagram. But every single day, she'll just pop up and there's always something that she's giving someone else, and it's actually really beautiful. So if there's anywhere to start with Charlotte, it's definitely on her stories and Instagram. So, yeah, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much. I'm sorry I was so quiet today. But anyways,
I know I
took in a lot.
I'm sorry.
I took in a lot.
Thanks, ladies.
Sometimes we're not only healing and sharing for other people. We're doing it for ourselves.
That song that we were singing on the weekend just came into my head.
Which one?
Sometimes I run,
Sometimes I cry.
No, is it
Cry, I think.
sometimes I'm scared of you, but all I really want is to hold you tight
We've got the wrong
deep
words.
inside. Am I singing it wrong?
Yeah, probably.
Tight or close? I don't know.
No, I don't know.
We always do this. and
We
then
were
we'll
singing
work
it
out
on the weekend and I was just like, this is so relevant right
Oh
now.
my God. All right, everybody. So, like always, make sure you take care of yourselves.
And take care of each other.
Bye.
Bye.